Welcome to Coffee Talk with Liquidshano 1973, an inspirational podcast about the ups and downs of life and everything in between. Here's your host, Shane Lakita.
Hey guys, welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of Coffee Talk with Liquidshano 1973. I'm your host, Shane, and I'm here for therapy. This podcast really is all about just being able to vent either frustrations, talk about journey, talk about the ups and downs, talk about things that I have at my disposal that I try to get through things, or the way that I'm able to navigate through drama or noise or anything like that. And then I share it with you guys. All of you that are out there listening to the podcast right now are part of the audience that is listening, trying to be able to be in the same boat that I'm in, trying to go through the things that we have to go through, the drama, the ups, the downs, all the different stuff. That's what the premise of this whole podcast is. That's what the purpose of this podcast is. For me to be there for you and you to be there for me. Now, with that all being said, it's heavy, isn't it? I mean, literally, we are in such a heavy time. A lot of people entered year 2021 jumping into it full bore, saying to themselves, this is going to be a great year. We're going to be able to put 2020 behind us and let's move right into it. Let's go into 2021. The ball dropped. We were like, good to go. We're like, okay, good to go. This is all kinds of great things, our dreams, our aspirations, our goals, everything else that we have going on. And then 2021 hit with an absolute sledgehammer right to our heads. More political unrest, more death from COVID, all kinds of different stuff, right? Now, you guys know I don't talk about politics and I don't talk about that kind of stuff on this podcast because I feel it's a safe environment to not talk about those things, but I can relate to them and I can use them as a barometer. There's a lot of people that are feeling really super heavy right now. I know me on my live casts that I do on TikTok, sometimes Instagram, and on Facebook. I have a lot of people popping in there going, I just feel so heavy right now. I feel depressed. I feel like I can't come up for water. I'll come up out of water for air. I can't do anything. All the people that I've leaned in on before that were old friends and old family members have all politically divided each other, gone different directions. I have different people that I used to lean on that I needed before that have either gone off to the wayside or don't want to talk about those kind of things or are suffering depression themselves. It's almost like we're at this crux in the road here. We're at this almost like a crossroad moment, not only as a society, but as people, where we're sitting back going, my way is the right way, your way is the wrong way. My view is the right view, your view is the wrong one. And we are divided, not just politically, but everything. Everything that has an opinion labeled to it, we're always right. We're always the one that matters. Our view is the right way. And I know I've said this before on podcasts in the past. If we don't enter conversations thinking to ourselves, I'm wrong, and you could probably teach me something, then we're entering the conversation incorrectly. We shouldn't be entering a conversation with the attitude of, I'm right and you're wrong. Or, let me tell you what my opinion is before I even have a chance to listen to yours. Now, political landscape or not, the fact of the matter is we're humans. We're meant to be together. We're meant to cohabitate. We're meant to be around each other. We're human beings. What happened to that? It's gone. The communication side of things, the ability to be able to have conversations and dive into things is literally going off to the wayside because people are just stuck in their ways and they're vigilant about the things that they're trying to be able to bring to the table. Now, at the end of the day, the way I look at everything is this. If we could learn to be a little bit more inviting, a little bit more accepting of each other, a little bit more in a space where we can communicate with each other and do the things that are necessary for us to do to help each other, to encourage each other, and those kind of things, wouldn't it be a better world to live in? I think so. I think if I enter a conversation going, hey, tell me more about your view on this. Tell me more about what your opinion is on this. Or tell me more about how I can help you. Or tell me more about how we can meld it together. And then if I notice that the receiving party isn't necessarily as open-minded as I may be, I try to then lead by example to be an open-minded individual to maybe foster a great conversation going on at that moment in time. Now, it's hard. It's not easy. Listen, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. But it's easier to actually side down the road of my opinion is the right opinion. My way is the right way. I matter and you don't a lot of times, which is sad. And it's sad but true. And I even had a conversation earlier today with somebody on my live that basically said what's sad is it's hard to actually be in a positive space. It's easy to be in a negative space. Now, why is that? Why do you think it's easy to be in a negative space? Is it because majority is in negative? Yeah, I think so. I think a lot of the people that are around us, a lot of the news outlets that we see, a lot of the media places that we go, all the different things that we have are all negative. A lot of your videos, a lot of your stuff. That's why a lot of your positive America's Funniest Home Videos types of material isn't necessarily as popular. They don't trend. They don't map out to get millions and millions of views. It's the ones that are negative or the ones that are kind of like, the eye catcher or the immediate thing to be able to go viral for somebody to be able to look at to say, oh my goodness, I can't believe that happened. That's the society we live in. But here was one thing that I experienced this morning, actually. When I opened up my TikTok, I was listening to different verbiage and different audio files and different stuff that was on there. And I heard somebody say, they got up on the podium and they talked about asking for help. They talked about the fact that most people that are going through all the things that they have to go through don't ask for help because they don't want to look weak. They don't ask for help because they come across as having it all together. It was really insightful to me when he was talking about the fact that one of the biggest things that we can learn in life is to not only give help, because a lot of us are givers, right? A lot of us are out there trying to be able to help others, do things for others, be able to invest in other people, even if it's sometimes dipping from an empty cup that we're trying to be able to give from. But we still do it because it's the right thing to do. We invest in other people. We do all these different things. So when we're in this space that we invest in other people and we do all these different things, the fact of the matter is that sometimes we need that for ourselves as well. And one of the biggest things that they had shared on this audio file that I listened to basically said that the most important thing in life that we have to learn is that it's okay to ask for help. And the other thing to learn as a skill set is to be able to accept the help from another person when they want to give it to you. There was a couple different pronged approach that they took to this. They basically said one is that if you ask for help, it's a personal psyche. It's a different way, a frame of mind of thinking, and you don't want to feel weak, and you don't want to look like you don't have anything under control, and whatever else. Especially from a guy's perspective, the macho, I'm not going to ask for help. I can do anything I want to with it. I can put a Band-Aid on it and put like a MacGyver approach to it, and it'll be fixed, and it's good to go. Bada bing, bada boom, right? And so there's one approach of that one. The other one is the sign of weakness. If I ask somebody for help, does that make me weak? Well, no, I don't think so. But it's a true feeling. It's an honest feeling. People truly feel that way when they look at themselves to say, if I ask somebody else for help right now, I'm going to look like a weak individual. I'm going to look like somebody who doesn't have it together. I'm going to look like somebody that they're going to look at me and go, oh man, they're a hot mess. Like seriously. And so at the end of the day, we don't ask for the help because we're afraid of any kind of repercussion or any kind of opinions that people have on us or for us at any given time. So when we're navigating this journey and all the things that we're feeling right now, we don't ask for the help because of our own opinions of what others are going to do for us. Now remember, this is all what he was saying was it's all fabricated by the personal individual. Me, if I don't ask for help, it's because I'm blowing it out of proportion. What he was saying was you'd be surprised at how many people would come to your beckoning call or come to help you the best that they could if you said to them, I don't get it. I can't do it. I'm out of control. I need help. Please help me. How many people would come out of the woodworks not only because they want to help you, not only because they love you, and not only because they care for you, but also because you've set the example for what you've done in the past. And you've given, and you've given, and you've given all the time, helping other individuals. So you've already set and paved the framework of other individuals wanting to help you because you've done it yourself. And so what happens a lot of times is we don't give it a chance. We don't give it a chance to actually ask for the help because of those other things that I talked about, our own personal demons that we have, our own personal views on looking weak or not being macho, or I can do this because I've been taught that I need to put on my bootstraps and go for it and make it happen and do whatever I have to do. We train ourselves mentally that that's the right way to be. That's the right place to be. When in all actuality, strength comes in communication. Strength comes in humility. Strength comes in asking a neighbor for help rather than always just trying to do it and get it done. People think that we're in this place where that we have to be a certain type of personality or a certain type of mentality to be able to be successful. Why? Why can't we change the narrative to actually opening up the line of communication? And it might stem all the way from the beginning of what we talked about right in the beginning of this podcast about 10 minutes ago when I said, literally, we don't communicate, we don't talk, we don't enter conversations to listen, we don't enter conversations to learn. We always talk about what we know and we go into those types of things. So maybe it's another part of that human psyche that's a failure or a fault of ours as human beings in this space as well. Because asking for help is not a weakness. Asking for help is not something that should be shunned. But it's there. I do a lot of volunteering work, and I do a lot of work with a lot of veterans, a lot of folks that are out there that struggle with PTSD and all these different items, and people that just get out of the military that literally don't know how to cope with society, don't know how to cope with the normal situations that are going on out there in the world. And so what they end up doing is they end up shutting down. And they may not be able to get the help that they need, that they so richly deserve because they basically sacrificed their life for our country. And one, they don't have the ability to, and two, sometimes they don't want to. And they don't want to look weak as a military member. They don't want to look like somebody that's given up or somebody that is really wallowing in their sorrows. So they resort to many different things. One could be drugs or alcohol. And sadly, many of them resort to suicide. Now, many of you have heard the stats on this podcast, and many have heard the stats in general. But what do you think the number one gender of people in the suicide world, people that commit suicide in the world in general, number one, men or women? What do you think it is? If you guessed men, you're correct. And why is that? Because men don't want to talk. Men don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about the sensitive stuff. They don't want to talk about the nooks and the crannies, the underlying causes, the different things that are there. Men also don't want to go visit doctors. They're adamant and they're just so stubborn to not go visit the doctor. When in all actuality, they should be going probably more than even a woman does. Because a woman's okay with going to the doctor for the most part, right? They go for mammograms, they go for PAPs, they go for all these different things, preventive medicine towards continuing to move forward. And a guy will sometimes go years before he even goes to visit a doctor until something's wrong. Why? Macho, ego, whatever it is. Now, I know this isn't a guy-girl thing because there's a lot of there's a lot of women that are struggling as well, right? But here's the thing. At the end of all of it, at the end of all these things that we're talking about here, outside of being stubborn and outside of being an ass and not doing the things that you're supposed to do in life to be able to be preventive and to be positive and continue moving forward, invest in yourself. Ask for the help when you need it. There's so often that we have so many situations that these things go untapped and then we lose these individuals to things like suicide, drug abuse, overdoses, alcohol, whatever it is. And then we lose these individuals. Now, here's the other side of the coin of all this. I had somebody on my live this morning. We were sitting there having a conversation with the whole group. It was a good vibe. We had good music going. We were talking about stuff like, being a positive influence and changing the world with my own two hands and taking what we see on television and using it as a catalyst to continue to change the world with us, with our actions, everything else. All the great stuff that we love to talk about on the lives. And so I had an individual that was in there and they said, I'm basically giving up. And so amidst the music and amidst all the stuff that was going on, I had to communicate with them. through all the different things all the other comments that were coming through, 30, 40 people in the room. And I said to them, I said, listen, there's not a lot of words that can help me to help you right now, except for the fact of don't focus on the big picture. Focus on small, immediate goals. Focus on you being a better person. Focus on the way you respond to certain things. And don't be afraid to ask for help. Right? This is something that started right from this morning. It's stemmed. My whole day this has been the theme. So then I said to myself, okay, how do I help this individual in the midst of all this? So I told him, I said, if you want to message me, that's cool. Let's talk. Let's chat. But I also wanted to let them know that I'm not a medical professional. I'm not somebody that basically can sit down and give you a medical prognosis of where you're at or recommend or diagnose you with PTSD or any other things that they can diagnose you with that they're professionally able to do rather than myself, right? Just being a podcaster or being a guy that just gives opinions. Then they said, well, I have been to therapists and I have been to psychiatrists and I've been to all these people, but nothing seems to help. Sometimes this happens, and it really gets to me because what that tells me is they don't have a personal network of people that can help them. They've gone to the therapist, he said. He's gone to different places to do what he has to do, but he still suffers, and he still has these thoughts, and he still has very, very bad days, like a lot of us, except his feels like it's amplified. And so I said to him, you know, there's a lot of people that are in this room right now as hip pocket friends that you can lean in on to get a positive word or a word of encouragement to help you moving forward. Now, not that that's the end all be all, and not that that is the fix it. But what I learned from it immediately as he was sitting in the room and having the conversation, from the time that he started all the way to the time of the very end of the live, which is about an hour and 15 minutes, he said at the end, you have no idea what this did for me today. It lifted my spirits. It picked me up. I literally have now a positive mindset of where I was at with it because I know that there are people that are out there that, one, have gone through the same things that I'm going through, and two, don't even know me but want me to succeed. Guys, this is where I'm talking about where we make a difference. We make a difference in the world in a positive space that we have no idea what kind of positive impact that we can have on people. We have no idea. We don't know what the reach of our positive actions can have. But we can see the reach of our negative actions and our negative words and our negative behavior immediately because people respond and react to it. But when it comes to the positive ones, the more and more that you layer those in, and the more and more that you work on how you respond to things and how you react to things and how you invest in other people and encourage people and lift others up, at the end of the day, that could literally change lives. It can literally change people's views on life in general. When this individual said, I'm thinking about giving up, okay, it might have been a shot out into the universe for attention. It might have been just a moment that they were there, but I'm looking at it from the face value of what I see. What I saw as an individual come into that room that was in despair, felt depressed, was down, was having those thoughts that we hear about, was having those thoughts that I've been through, was having depressive moments, a manic moment, somewhere that was there. And he decided, who had never been into one of my lives before, as he was scrolling through his pages, he saw my live pop up and he popped in and he wanted to see what it was all about. And so he said that right off the bat. And at the very end, said, I changed everything around for him. Even if it is just for one day. It may not be a long-term strategy for this individual, but for one day, I made a positive impact on this person. We made a positive impact on this person. The energy of the live, the encouragement of the people. There must have been 7 or 8 individuals that were tagging and putting a little @ symbol next to it with his username on there that was saying to him, hey, try this, do that. Be in a space that might help you. We made recommendations where I was telling people what a great way to be able to make a recommendation for yourself to have that personal care part of it, the self-care part of it, to be able to set an alarm every day for yourself for like 10 minutes and make the alarm loud and proud so that when it goes off, you're forced to actually turn it off and then go do what you have to do by getting some fresh air, making some Legos, doing some art, taking a bath, doing some laundry, or whatever it is to break the monotony of whatever it is that you're going through or whatever you're working on at that moment in time. The self-care is important because now you can actually attack the rest of your day after a 10-minute to 15-minute meditation break or whatever it is that you're going to do, or a workout break or a walk break. And so we were recommending all these different things to this individual. All of us, like 7 or 8 of us in the room of 40, were all making recommendations, giving him encouragement, saying, hey, listen, we love you, man. You know, and it might sound kumbaya when you say that. I don't even know you. I don't know you. I have no idea who you are. But at this moment in time, you reached out to us and we were in the room all together and we were able to respond positively. Even though at first I said, I don't know if there's a lot of words that I can say that's going to help you. And I don't know if there's a lot of things that I can do outside of having a medical license to do so. But I'm going to tell you what works for me. I'm going to tell you what kind of positive influence that I can be for you right now in the space that I'm living in the place that I'm trying to be able to go to. And if I can help you, then great. And to know that that worked just by my response, my encouragement, and my care, enough to be able to take him from a place where he was not feeling up to par about anything to leaving the room going, wow, I really do feel better. I had many of them even say that were in the room while we were having a conversation, that were sitting there watching our conversation dialogue between each other, that said, I also was having a bad day. I also was having a really bad morning. But now that I've been in here for the last half hour, 20 minutes or whatever, and I've seen the amount of encouragement in this room and the uplifting and the positivity and the amount of can-do attitudes and the things that we're trying to be able to do, my day has now started off on the right foot. My day, now I feel like I can do whatever I set my mind to. I mean, think about that. One little live session had 4 or 5 people go into that live that weren't necessarily feeling up to par, right? They weren't reaching out to anybody. They would just kind of scroll in and they stopped in. They weren't feeling it today. They weren't feeling very good about themselves. They were feeling down in the dumps. They were feeling whatever. And virtually, we were able to sit in a room, play music, and just talk to each other, have some coffee with each other, sit in a room. And I call it, by the way, I call it on my live session on TikTok. I actually call it my virtual coffee shop, because basically what it is you got some people that will come in and they'll scroll in for like 2 seconds. They'll grab their coffee and they'll run. They'll say, hey guys, see you later. Bye-bye. I'm out of here. And you'll have other people that want to sit and talk. And you have others that just want to come in and lurk. And they sit down in the padded seats on the back end of the coffee shop and they just listen to everybody's conversations. So you got a wide range of people and what they're gaining from that. But what I learned from it is that everybody needs something. And my network of hip pocket friends and my network of hip pocket family matters. It's virtual. It's a virtual space that we're living in, but that's a space that we have to live in. We've got all these different diseases, all this different stuff going on out there. If this is the space that we have to be in, use your resources and tap into what you have to tap into to get the help that you need. There's also many resources popping up right now to be able to combat some of this stuff, like the suicide hotline, or even Michael Phelps that was on there with a virtual psychiatrist or psychologist or whatever it is that he's on there promoting the fact that I think it's called Talk to Me or something like that, where you can actually, if you're having thoughts that are not in a good frame of mind, you can actually call this line or use this app to be able to communicate with somebody that can actually medically help you and talk to you. Guys, the space that we're living in right now is pretty dark. There's not a lot of sunshine in the world right now, especially this country. There's not. That's all we see. It's all we hear. Even if you try to stay away from the news, you're still going to see it everywhere you go. You'll hear about it from your friends. You'll hear about it from family. You hear all these opinions or whatever else, and it's just coming down on everybody. And everybody's just feeling tired, exhausted, overall just disgusted, right? A majority of this country probably feels disgusted by everything that they see that's going on outside of some radicals that are on either end. And here's the thing. The only thing that we can do is change the way that we respond to things. What kind of positive influence can we have with other people? How can we invite dialogue? How can we invite conversation? How can we invite positivity without being scorned or shunned? Because I've had that happen to me as well. On some lives where I talk about there's no politics in this live. We're just going to have some conversation about how we can encourage each other. And I've had people literally say to me, what are you doing? Are you just naive to everything? Are you just going to basically shut it down and ignore everything that's going on around you? No, I'm not. That is absolutely not the case. I know what's going on. I'm a positive realist. I know what's happening. I see what's happening all around me. I know the political landscape. I know the racial divide. I know all that stuff. I do. But what I choose is, how can I make changes in the world? And the changes that I make in the world is to communicate, to love, to share kindness, and keep things moving forward. Think about the impact that you can have on somebody just with your words or with your actions. Why do you think in our house here, in this little neighborhood that we live in, my wife often goes and bakes a bunch of stuff, like some banana breads, some cookies, some whatever, and then we're delivery boys to go deliver them to different houses around the neighborhood. Just because we want to be kind, no matter what your party is, no matter what views that you have, no matter who you are, we're going to treat you like a human being because that's what you are. And we're literally going to sit down and say, hey, I care about you and I see you and I validate you. I think that's where a lot of the focus is. That's where a lot of the problems is right now. I mean, across the board, the issue is people don't feel validated. They don't feel heard. They don't feel like they are a card-carrying member of society and to do the things that they have to do. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, we literally have to work with each other. We literally have to change the way that we communicate. We literally have to sit down with each other and truly work on making sure that we are being a positive influence and a kind influence, and we're lifting people up and we're encouraging other people to do other things for other people. And we're in this game together, not against each other. Outside of everything else you're hearing, if you're going to take away one thing from this podcast, right? One thing from this podcast. Actually, here's two things. Communication is key. That communication goes both ways. That communication is you helping others to encourage each other with kind words, and then you also asking for help when you need it. Don't wallow in a box. Don't put yourself in a coffin or hide in a room because you're afraid of the ramifications of you asking somebody for help. Ask for the help. Do what you have to do to get the help that you need in any situation that's there. Don't think to yourself that you're less than or you're less worthy because you're asking somebody for help. Right? And the second thing is control what you can control. Out of everything that's going on, there's not a lot that I'm going to be able to do politically in Washington for me to make the changes that are necessary for me to make. But there are things that I can do internally and locally that I can do by spreading kindness and doing the things that are necessary for me to continue to encourage and uplift and do the things that I need to do to be the example of what a good, decent human being is. I can change the way that I respond to things, the way that I react to things. That's what I can change. I can do that. And that's what I need to focus on, the things that I can change, not the things that I cannot, if that makes sense. So there was a lot of eye-opening stuff today, a lot of really good stuff for me to be able to help me understand the impact of my words and the impact of the words of anybody around us and how they impact others and they influence others. And if that's true, and my words impact others and they influence others, then I'm going to continue to go down the road of being a positive, encouraging, and uplifting source of light that has to be to help others understand that they're amazing and they're powerful and they're strong. And it's okay to be, or it's okay not to be okay. And it's okay to be able to be vulnerable. It's okay. It's actually stronger for you to be able to show that side of you, to be honest. All right, guys, I hope that makes a lot of sense for you today. I hope you felt my passion on this one because I think it's so true. When I was navigating this journey that we're on right now, the emotions of everything that we're going through right now, I literally needed to be able to sit here on a microphone with you to talk it through, and I hope you heard it as I was saying it. Okay? Have a great day, everybody. Let's go make it a great week this week, and let's just go make great things happen. See ya.
Thank you for listening to today's podcast. Please do us a favor and leave feedback and a 5-star rating on whatever platform that you use.